It's the first Granny Square Sunday of 2025, and I'm excited to share with you the 3 squares I've crocheted from the Modern Guide to Granny Squares. And we're also going to see if I finished my work in progress bag. Spoiler alert, I haven't. Hey, it's Tammy, Crafty Mompreneur. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Today's our first Granny Square Sunday for 2025. As promised, we are continuing this series into the new year and beyond. If you saw my last Granny Square Sunday video of 2024, you know that we are going to be working through 2 books this year. The first one is a Modern Guide to Granny Squares, and so that's how we're kicking off this year's Granny Square Sunday. And I'm going to be showing you the squares that I crocheted from this book, as well as giving you a little bit of an update on my project, the Granny Square card deck. You can follow along with that series here, or maybe over here. I don't know. That's the plan for today's video. I'm also going to share with you a little bit of next week's squares and the yarn I picked for that. And yeah, we'll just go from there. At the request of some of you guys, I have removed the little dinging sound in between segues, and I'm using transitions instead. So always trying to improve my videos, so any constructive feedback that you have is greatly appreciated, and I do listen to you guys and I try to reply back to all the comments. So thank you again for all of your guys' comments and feedback and all of that stuff. So let's get right to the video. So as I mentioned, we are going through a Modern Guide to Granny Squares first, and this one has 40 granny squares in it, and the skill level on them is between 1 ball of yarn and 3 balls of yarn, which I thought was kind of funny. So when picking my first square out of this book, I decided to pick a level 1, just because, you know, and you guys know if you followed any of my series before, I'm not an expert crocheter by any means. I've only been doing it about 2 years, and so I picked a square that I knew would be easy for me to do, that had stitches in it that I recognized but was still a little bit challenging, but was definitely a skill level 1, because I didn't want to test myself too much for the first square out of this book. And so I picked Peaches and Cream, and that's what the square looks like. And I have a challenge for myself to not buy any new yarn for as long as I can in 2025. Now I know there's going to get to be a point where I'm going to need a certain color for a certain project, but as we start out the new year, I'm going to just try and use the yarn that I have, because I have enough yarn. Okay, so I picked this color scheme, and here's my square that I made for Peaches and Cream. This is like a sparkle yarn. The yarn that I'm using is, I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby, and it's just their acrylic yarn. And so I made sure to use the same kind of yarn so that I didn't have any variations of yarn types, you know, because I feel like if you use different kinds of yarn, sometimes it's hard to work with in the same project. So this is Granny Square number 1 of 2025. And then I was like, well, how am I going to pick other squares to crochet for this project? And I kind of want to be able to use up yarn. And so what I decided to do is, I noticed in the book they give you suggested squares to use with this square. And so I thought, okay, a good idea would be to make a few squares in coordinating colors, and then maybe see if I can see if a project will like spark my interest of what I want to do with those. Because I have, you know, looked at a lot of Granny Square projects, and I did a recap of all the 50 top like projects. You can see that video here, or maybe here. I don't know. So that's what I did. I went with this square next, and this is the square. So I've made plenty of these. I don't know what they call this one. Just the basic Granny Square. No, this is called a double crochet square. And I made a whole bunch of these for my daughter's Eras Tour blanket. And this is just a pretty, it's a pretty easy square. I did find myself making sure that I didn't skip any stitches, and I think the only, we have to count the stitches, is the very last row when you're coming to the end. and you have to, you know, the join or whatever. But yeah, so this one, and then the third one was on page 34, was the modern floral. So this was my third one. And so this was a 3-ball square, which meant it was the most difficult skill level of all the squares in the book. And this one challenged me, but here it is. But here it is. And these are big. Look at, it's as big as my head. Like, why are these squares so big? I'm used to like the little 4-inch squares that I was making in the other one, but big square. I know my daughter saw these squares and they're like, they first saw this one and they were like, wow, that's really pretty. Why is it so big? Like, I don't know. Like, we're all new to this granny square game over here, so. And I was watching a video on YouTube and they were saying that granny squares were going out for 2025. Is that true? Comment below if you think granny squares are out for 2025. I'm like, hey, I just got into granny squares. Like, don't make them go out. They can't be going out. I don't know if that was true. Let me know in the comments if you think. I'm going to show you 3 squares all put together, and then what I think my plan is to do with them. So here they are laid out, and my original thought was to make a pillow using like these 2 plus 2 solid ones. But then I got to thinking, like, what if I made this like the back of the pillow, and then I created another one of these and another one of these, and then make this like another one of these to put right here and another one of these to put right here, and make it a pillow. Be a nice big throw pillow. And then expand upon this with more of that purple, or even maybe do it a border of another color, maybe. I don't know, just expand on this and make this the back of the pillow. So I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts. This is the colors that I'm using. I'm almost out of white, So I'd have to like wait until I can buy more yarn to finish this project. But I want to, part of this whole process, I want to get your guys' feedback on what you think, because I don't like to make a lot of decisions. So yeah, that's my thinking with those squares. I do kind of want to have a project in mind for them. It's going to be a project for later on in the year. First 3 squares of 2025. And again, I am going to be keeping track of how many squares I crochet. And again, I think my goal was 140. I have a feeling I'm going to probably do more than that if I complete projects, because my goal is to get through those 2 books, which is 140. And then like for this one, I'm gonna have to make at least 2 more squares to do this one. So the last part of this video, what I'm gonna do is give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what I have planned for next week's squares, because I kind of went through the book and planned out what squares I'm gonna be making this week, because I just wanted to be able to like know what I was doing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the yarn that I'm gonna be using to make these squares for next week. And then you can come back next week and see actually what squares I made. And then if you have this book, I would love to know if you have this book and if you're crocheting through them, let me know what squares you made this week. And if we can come up with a way for you to show, I think I'd have to do like a community or a Facebook group or something so I can see the squares that you guys are making from it. I would kind of love to see what you guys do. So I need to think on that, because I don't really want to do a Facebook group. I'm thinking a community here on YouTube, because YouTube likes it when you use their resources, and they keep telling me to make a community. Like I keep getting emails that said, hey, you're eligible for memberships. I mean, if I did like a $2 a month kind of thing to be able to like be in a community in a group together. I know some people do like Patreon and stuff, but I don't want to do Patreon. But with memberships, I need to look into more on that. But let me show you the yarn that I picked for next week's squares. I have this much white left. And so I think the squares that I picked call for a little bit of white. And then this is like a creamy kind of white. I mean, it's like, I don't know what it is really, but I think it's cream. So those 2. And then I have a little bit of pink left. So we're gonna use pink. And then we have another pink. So we're gonna use more pink. And I'm gonna drop everything. And then some red. Do you see where we're going with this? Do you see it? See that? Oh, what a mess that looks like. And then we're gonna add a little bit of greens. So in the comments below, take a guess on what you think the theme for next week's squares are based on these colors. Look at this mess. What am I gonna make with these, you know? And I almost forgot to update you on the work in progress bag that I am making from the Granny Square card deck. With it being the holidays, my husband's birthday, New Year's and all that, I honestly did not get a chance to do much on it other than start the blocking process. I got the first 8 squares blocked, and then I have started blocking the second 8. I just bought a little blocking board. I didn't get a really big one, just because I still make a lot of crochet plushies, and Granny Squares, it's kind of like a side project. Whereas the crochet plushies and markets and all that is kind of like where I earn my most money with this business. It's going to just take me a little bit longer to get all those blocked and ready to put together. But my hope is within the next 2 weeks, I'll have that work in progress bag completely done, and then I can show you the final project. That's going to do it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe, because on the first Tuesday of every single month, I give you a kind of behind the scenes on what's going on with my YouTube channel. Later in the week, I'm going to be sharing a tutorial on the kind of project that helped me learn how to crochet amigurumi toys. If you're wanting to learn how to crochet amigurumi toys, you don't want to miss it. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye. Constructive criticism that helped me learn projects. You can see that video here, or maybe here. I don't know where it shows, because when I flip the video, it goes over here, but maybe it's over here. So I guess I'm gonna just point to both. So you can see that video here, or you can see that video here, and then one of those would work. anyways, okay. So, as well,